Hey everyone, welcome back. We have our third installment of the Hexie Sampler Stitch Along. Sorry, I completely missed our last, I set up appointments for myself and then I missed them. I missed our last 6 p.m. one. So what I wanted to do was work on 3 stitches today. We have the Fishbone, the Satin Stitch, and French knots, and those 3 stitches will finish up all of our stitches that we need to know. And then I thought tomorrow morning I could pop back on and talk about finishing, getting, if you're going to put it in a hoop, if you're going to quilt it, a couple different ways to finish it. So let's get started this morning with the Fishbone. And again, I'm going to have my husband come over here and help us out recording. Alright, so the Fishbone is this leaf right here. It's a nice braided effect. I love it for leaves. Okay, so what I like to do is take this regular old pencil and just kind of draw a line down the middle of my leaf. That's kind of where the vein of a leaf would be. I have my green thread ready, and this one starts off, you feel like you're kind of messy, but just keep going. We're going to start bringing our needle up, and this stitch isn't one where we can keep our needle on top. We're going to be doing the up-down. Make a stitch that's maybe about 1/3 of an inch or so, a little bit more than 1/4. That's going to be our center, following our center vein. And this one is like braiding. We're going to always go over that center line. Oh, where you land over here really doesn't matter, just as long as you cross the center. And then we're going to go from the other side. So you just weave from left to right, to left to right, over that center. How's the lighting, Stuart?
It's kind of grainy.
Grainy?
Yeah.
Is it a little dark?
It's too dark.
Okay, let's, I'll hold this for a sec. You want to turn on the light?
Sure.
Get some more lights on. Sorry, guys. There, is that better? I felt like I was sitting in the dark, so I thought you guys probably felt that way too.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So I just went from the left over the line, so now I go back from the right. Just like braiding, keeping that center the same. And don't worry about down here. That's all going to get covered up. I'm not going to do this whole leaf because you guys will get a little bit bored, but if you go to the YouTube link, I do the whole leaf. You can see it's starting to form there. You can watch the whole leaf. It's actually in high speed on YouTube. And if you feel like you missed a spot, you know, like, oh, that edge doesn't look nice, go back in. Throw a stitch in there. Weave it into your braid. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to throw another one over this way, crossing over my center. Alright, so there's your Fishbone. Just keep going, and you might need to fan out your stitches as you go to keep your leaf, watch its shape. But that's the basics of the fishtail. Now I'm going to move on to the Satin Stitch. I actually threaded my needles this time. Satin Stitch, oops, sorry, I threaded an orangish color. So how about we do the pinwheel? And the biggest thing, here's the pinwheel right here. The Satin Stitch is also in the heart, the pinwheel, the point of the arrow, the bee, the flying geese. I think that's all. The Satin Stitch is a really good filler stitch to add a lot of color to an area. So I'm going to work on this pinwheel, starting from the bottom, and this is one where we want to keep our needle on top again. I'm going to move it over here. I like to rest mine on the edge of the table so I can use my hand underneath to help. The number one thing I think people do wrong with the Satin Stitch is they zigzag. Or yes, they zigzag. They go one way, and then they try to save thread and go back. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to hop back and forth. We want to make loops. The biggest thing I can suggest with you is just focus on staying on the line to get those nice clean edges. And underneath I'm using my middle finger to help my needle steer. And just try to keep your lines parallel as they go across. I got one little thread there we go. And another tip that I like to do when I get done is I will take the thread off the needle, the floss off the needle, and take it and just kind of push my edges out. And that will give, you know, where you think you may have been a little bit jaggedy, that'll push the fibers of your background fabric to make your edges just a little bit cleaner. So there you go, that is the satin stitch. Just make sure you're looping around, not zigzagging. The bee over here is also done in the satin stitch. I did a back stitch for his legs and his wings, and then with 2 strands of floss, and then I did his body with 3 strands. And then I'll go through with 2 strands of a yellow gold color and put some stripes on him. I haven't done that yet. All right, we have one last stitch today, you guys. The French knot. The French knot takes a little bit of practice. I would recommend starting up here with this flower. Start in the center, because those, by the time you get to the outside, you're going to be really good at it. So you can kind of bury the ones on the inside and just get the texture. For the coneflower here, or echinacea, I did this one kind of, you can see the gradient colors going down. I started off at the top using 3 strands of gold, and then when I moved to the middle section, I used 2 strands of gold, 1 strand of the charcoal, and then I went down to use 2 strands of charcoal, 1 strand of the gold, and then at the bottom is 3 strands of charcoal. That's how I got the variegated look on that, or gradient look. Okay, so French knots come up from the bottom, and holding your floss in your thumb and your forefinger, twist away from you. And for this one, we're going to do it 2 times. You see how I did that? I twisted away 2 times. Keep holding on to that and put your needle back down close to where it was. I like to hold this one with my thumb as I pull down, and that will give you a nice French knot. It is practice how tight you hold. Oops, my other threads. If you hold it too tight, you won't be able to get the head of your needle through. If you hold it too loose, you get big loops. So just practice that. Make sure that knot reaches your fabric. I'm just going to go all over the place here. Make sure that knot reaches your fabric as you're pulling down, and that will help you out. See how the knot is down at the end of my needle? All right, there's the French knots, guys. You just do the coneflower, the allium flower, and the 2 little antennas on the bee. And I will be back tomorrow morning, and we'll talk about finishing up the pattern and maybe some of the other random pieces in here. Just, again, email me and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys. Bye.